the power. It's a new dad. Yes, it is.
It's your new dad. We got a tricky one today, kiddos, so buckle up. Loving someone from an arm's reach. So we talked about loving ourselves. What do we do when we try to love someone and they give us such negativity back that it poisons our own thoughts? And what do we do when that person's a parent, a sibling, a spouse, a teacher, a boss, a friend? Well, this is a tricky one, and there's a lot of nuance to it. So I'm going to broad stroke it, and then I'll try to narrow it down a little bit for a couple of different scenarios. If you have a particular scenario and you'd like me to take a stab at it, and you'd like to get some dad advice, leave it in the comments. I'll do my best. That said, I'm going to start with the one I objectively think is probably the hardest. So, if you find that the person that you're with, your spouse, your partner, your loved one, is breeding negativity, it's probably time for you to leave. So I know that that sounds incredibly harsh, and I know that it's easy to say and hard to do, but it is. It's time for you to go. If you've had it for a long time and it's super valuable to you, you can go to therapy, you can work on it, but you have to understand, with no uncertainty, my child, you have a zero tolerance for someone making you feel bad that's supposed to love you. Now, there's some nuance here. If they're making you feel bad because you did something bad, that's not what we're talking about. If you, every time you do something, that person is making you feel bad, even when you know what you did was right or nice or kind, and you've told them and they still do it, it is time for you to go. I know, it's hard. And sometimes you have your own kids and they're in the middle of it. God, that's hard. But let me tell you this. This is what I learned. Your child is watching how your relationship goes. You're teaching them. So if you're teaching my grandchild that it's okay to let their spouse make them feel insignificant, make them feel bad, make them question their value as a man, a woman, make them question their value as a person, you'd better think hard about if that's okay or not, because you're teaching that to the next generation, and I will be incredibly disappointed in you, because I expect better of my children than that. My love is unconditional, but my expectations for you are high, child, because I know what your potential is, and I know you can get there. That was actually, I meant it to be as a quick example, but we kind of got in a tangent there because it's a topic I'm passionate about. The actually hard one, the one that doesn't have an easy solution, the one that makes that one almost look easy. What do you do when your parents are the source of your pain and your negativity? That's a hard one. I can tell you, as a dad, that is a deep-seated fear. And it should be. The damage that you can do to your child as a parent is unspeakable. So what do you do if your parents are the source of your pain? What do you do if every time you talk to your parents, they explain to you how you're not worth as much and you're not valuable and make you feel bad? Well, I'm going to tell you. And just like we're going to band it off, you're probably not going to like it. And you may not be ready to hear it yet, and that's okay. But it is the truth, and it'll be here when you are ready. Think of that negative, that toxicity in that relationship. Think of it like an infection. deep in your arm, just deep in the arm, at the bone. When you see yourself feel bad, when they say something to you that degrades you or makes you feel insecure, that's a symptom. The problem is, for whatever reason, there is no longer a boundary between acceptable and unacceptable treatment. You no longer have a clear boundary of what you will and will not tolerate. I know. It's so easy to say this, I know. But hear me out. You have to love yourself enough that you're willing to leave, even if it's your parents. I know. But there's an upside. Most parents, I can't say all, but most, and in my experience all, but most for the sake of argument, because I like to be as correct as I can. Most parents don't want to hurt you. If they're hurting you, it's probably something else that's happening. They may be struggling with their own life, their own insecurities. They may not love themselves. Maybe you need to show them our video on loving yourself. Maybe we can reach them. But generally speaking, that negativity that they're pushing onto you is usually a symptom of a different, bigger problem that usually doesn't have anything to do with you. Their own failings, their own insecurities, their own coming up short in what it is they thought they would do or could do, or you could do, and they feel bad for not having you live up to it. But the awful truth is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is what they do and how you feel. And that's what we're going to have to fix. If you want a relationship, a healthy relationship with your parent who is making you feel awful, it's going to hurt, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fun, I promise you, my love. But it is doable most of the time. There are some people who are too far gone. They're too absorbed in their hate or their anger or their bitterness. They're too far, and we can't save them, and you have to understand you might have to say goodbye. I'm sorry, that is the truth. It is. I won't lie to you if I can help it here. You might have to say goodbye. Now, in my experience, most of the time, as long as you're willing to leave and you understand that going into it, we can fix it. Not all the time, most of the time. What's the best ways to fix it? Probably therapy. Probably therapy. It is hard to convince a parent to go to therapy so you can tell them how they've hurt you, though. That's a bitter pill to swallow, and not every parent. Parents are people, just like you. A lot of times parents are people who weren't ready to be parents and had to learn on the job. A lot of parents are just fucked up people doing the best they can with what they've got. You have to understand that, because you cannot have your parents on a pedestal in order for this to work. They're people. Understand they're people. The next thing I need you to understand is they're people who are limited. Okay? They do not have infinite capacity. They don't have infinite capacity for love, for tolerance, for peace. They don't. They don't. If you've got a friend and you know you can't talk about something with them because they just go all fucking loopy on you, your parents are no different. Understand that going in. First thing we have to do, you have to get closure. You have to get closure. Now, closure can mean a lot of different things, and it does mean a lot of different things, but most of the time what closure means for most people that I've encountered is you have to say whatever it is that is on your mind all the time, making you crazy around them, that you won't tell them. I'll give you an example. A heartbreaking example. I know someone who had to tell their parents, "You made jokes about my size. Tell me I was big, fat, whatever." And it hurt me so deeply in my core, I almost killed myself. That's a tragedy. And it's an unfortunate reality for a lot of people. You have to say it. Doesn't matter how they react. They don't have to accept it. They don't have to apologize. You have to say it because, by God, you have to be heard. That's the first part. You have to be heard. You need that closure. Now, when you get that closure, you got to understand, most parents, oh, I didn't know. Oh, my parents did it that way. Oh, we didn't mean it like that. You're just being dramatic. We don't accept any of that. We accept none of that. If you get that, look at me. You tell them, I hear you. Now I need you to hear me. You did this. This is how it made me feel. I need you to understand that. And it may take a couple of tries. And it may take a little bit for you to get the courage to do it, but you can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. And you're going to have to. So that's the first step. The first step is we got to get that cancerous thing out of your system. We got to get you that closure. Now that we've got that out, you've said your piece, you've been heard, you've got your closure, the next thing you have to do, and I wish it was easier, but it's not, you got to learn to set some boundaries. I know, setting boundaries with your parents, especially when you're the child, I know, it's not fair, but if you want this relationship with them, you are gonna have to work on it and you're gonna have to fight for it, and this is what it looks like. Set some boundaries. What does that mean? I don't mean go up to the table and be like, no, I will not do this. That's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. What you have to do, in essence, and you'll say however suits you best, but this is your meaning. This is the meaning you need to get across. I love you. You are my parents. I want us to have a healthy relationship. I want you to understand that at the core. I want us to have a healthy relationship, a healthy child-parent, adult relationship. I will no longer tolerate being treated this way. If you treat me like this, I will leave. If you cannot stop treating me like this, I will not come back. And you have to mean that shit deep in your soul. I know. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, baby, so much. And I'm so sorry that I can't make it hurt less. I really, truly am in my core. If I could take that pain away from you, I would. But you're gonna need that pain, because that pain is what's gonna take you and drive you and get you through this. Listen to that pain. That pain is your guide. Don't be afraid of it. Set that boundary. Now, realistically, what does setting a boundary look like? I'll give you an example. We'll go back to our big person. Let's say you and your spouse, and you are dealing with your parent who's been calling you big as a child, and you've gotten your closure, you've said your piece. You go to your next event, your next family event. You've told your spouse, of course, because you better have told your spouse. If you're not having communications with your spouse, we're going to have a whole other problem. But you've told your spouse. Your parent makes a snide comment to your spouse. It's now your spouse's responsibility to go, hold up. That's not cool. That makes them feel bad. And I'm not going to be part of that. I'm sorry. I'm sure you don't mean it to hurt them, but it does, and I will not be part of it. You're going to need that. Your friends, your spouse, your own kids, whoever. And when they say or do something out of line, and they will, because they're going to test how much you mean this and how bad you want it, my baby, and you're going to have to show them you ain't playing. You are now my child, and my child does not fuck around. You will have to show them where the boundary is, and I'm sorry, but you will. If they're going to make a comment, you're going to have to be, hold on, Mom, hold on, Dad, hold on, Grandma. I'm going to stop you there. I don't appreciate that comment. That comment makes me feel bad. In order for us to have a healthy adult relationship that I want us to have, you cannot say that to me. That makes me feel bad, and I don't want to feel bad around you anymore. And you can be nice about it the first couple times, and it's going to be a couple. They're going to do it more than once because it is ingrained in them. I need you to understand this. You are reprogramming a habit that has probably been there for decades, and it is not going to be a simple one-time conversation, but it is doable. Teach them where your boundaries are. Tell them. Communicate. You were gifted with speech and the ability to communicate. Even if you can't talk, you were gifted with the ability to express your thoughts in some fashion. Do whatever works for you, my child. Show them. Be like, hey, you can't treat me like this anymore. I won't accept it. My new dad says I deserve love and respect, and if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to have to leave. And you may have to leave. Some of you guys, I'm sorry, but some of you guys' relationships are too far gone, they're too ingrained, it's too late. And you will have to leave. And you will leave because you are strong and you will love yourself and you know you deserve better. And you're going to get better. And keep in mind, it's not just you, it's your kids. If you're putting up with your parents being mean and nasty to you because you think you're providing your child with a grandparent, you're not. The only thing you're providing your child with is an example of how to be shitty to somebody and have them take it. The only thing you're providing your child with is a living example. And maybe you're not worth listening to, and you are their guide, my child. You is your responsibility. I am helping you, so you will help them. You deserve better, and you'll get it. And if you don't get it, you'll leave, and you will find it somewhere else. Because I promise you, there are people out in this world who want to love you. They want to help you. They have nothing but noble intentions, and you will find them once you get that negativity out of your life, and once you start pursuing things that make you happy, you will find those people, and they will fill that hole. And one day, you can come back and try again. Same thing though. Say your piece. Set your boundaries. Be willing to leave. Because that's what it's going to take. That's probably the worst. Parent is the worst. A spouse, you need to leave. If your spouse is the source of your negativity, you can set some boundaries and try. If you really care about the person and they just started doing this, it's a new thing. Because shit happens, man. Sometimes your life gets in your way. You forget where you are or who you are. If you've got a good thing going for a long time, and I mean a long time, because this is a whole other level of fucked up, and we do not tolerate that kind of disrespect in this house. But if you got a long history and it's a sudden and recent change, man, set those boundaries, say your piece, make it clear what you will and won't tolerate. Most importantly, be ready to leave if you have to. Because if you're not willing to leave, there's no guarantee this will work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it's not what you wanted to hear. I'm sure it's not what any of you wanted to hear, but it is the truth. And that's my concern. I have 3 concerns when it comes to my children. Are you safe? Are you healthy? Are you happy? It's in that order. Your safety is more important than your happiness. I'm sorry it is. I'm here to tell you the truth, and I will. But I'm also here to tell you that if you do this, I've seen it work. And I've seen beautiful relationships between people and their parents spring from the worst infected wounds. And you have to keep your boundaries. And occasionally you have to remind them of your boundaries because you're dealing with probably decades of learned behavior, and that shit's hard to break, but you can do it. And if they love you, they will do it. And if they don't love you, then now you know. But I'm here for you either way. And I love you. This is your new dad. You have value, you have worth, and I love you.